and yeah, here we are. This is a different game. I apologize, as I say, for that last one. Kinda sucks, but oh well. We've got a 2v2 on a pretty crazy map. It's in the War is Coming map pack. I don't know which map this is though. I just cannot remember the name of it, and I couldn't find the name of it. So yes, I didn't want to spend all day looking for the map name, so I decided, hey, I'll just jump on and cast this one anyway. So what we've got is a 2v2 on this kind of crazy map. And in the blue, up to the north here, we've got NC Pedro playing as the Chinese. His teammate is NC Andorran playing as the Mayans. And they're both up to the north of the map. He's in green, and we've got the other teammate in blue. Down to his south, the blues south, we've got CZ Skull playing as the Mayans. And his teammate Jugband in red playing as the Chinese. Jugband, oh man, I've seen him around for quite a long time. I remember casting games from Jugband years ago. I've not seen that name in quite some time, so it's nice to see him playing here, which is all good. So yeah, this map's kind of crazy. There's basically no TC start. You have transport ships to search around and to scout with. You've got the starting island with a little bit of wood. You've got enough wood to build a lumber camp, and you've got a gold and a stone. Now, the interesting thing about this, the nomad start here, is do you build your TC on the tiny starting island, or do you transport your villagers to the edge of the map and build your TC there? Now, obviously, the risk in doing that, the risk in TCing at the edge, is that you don't know where you're going to be TCing because you can't scout it. Now, Pedro here should be scouting with these sheep, and he's finally just moving them around now. He needs to find as much as he can with these sheep. He needs to find important resources on this mainland, because if they're going to TC over here, they can't be doing it in the dark. Now, the other guys will check their fog of war. Jugband, you know, he's not finding a whole lot over here. He's not really scouted the outside at all, and in fact, he's not even going to move his villagers out there, and all players are in fact going to put their TCs up on the starting island. And I think the reason for that ultimately is because it's the fastest way to get your TC up and villagers coming out. So, you know, I would love to see it where players would build their TC on the outside and not in the middle, but I think ultimately it does make more sense to put the TC in the middle, because of course it's going to go up faster, you're going to get more villagers out quicker, and you've got all your starting sheep on here. That was a really stupid thing to even suggest they would go on the outside, because they have the sheep here, which I totally just ignored for some reason, because I'm an idiot. So yeah, the sheep here obviously mean that you have to put your TC on this start area, unless you want to just ignore your sheep and go on the outside anyway. So sheep and a few deer. There's not a boar though, and there's not a whole lot of sheep either. There's just 6, and 6 sheep is less than the standard 8, which is obviously less than ideal for going up to the feudal age. So we have to see quite a few fishing ships here indeed. And those fishing ships are going to be crucial to get that villager count up and get up to the feudal age in a good time. Now, obviously, you could rush to the feudal age and go up on a really weak eco, or you could sit in the dark age for a while and build up quite a way. But you've got to really keep in mind speed, because the first player to get out the galleys is going to be the player who gets the advantage. You know, these islands are so small that galleys could pick off villagers from the shoreline. They could really hit these lumber camps from the shore. They could very easily start killing fishing ships as soon as they get up to the feudal age and the galleys start popping out. So obviously, it makes sense to try and get to the feudal age as quickly as possible. With this limited food, it does prove quite challenging to do that. And at the moment, Andorran here hasn't actually found those extra sheep. He must know that they're there. He's obviously seen them through the fog of war at some point, and he has to go and kind of claim them back with his transport ship here. But I would laugh, because he's only got villagers, so it's not like he's scouting around his island. But I would laugh if those sheep get unused for some time. That would be quite amusing. Blue, though, with a huge score lead, and that's just because of his scouting, and this is really useful. Scouting this outside island early on is really nice, and he can scout with his sheep quite a long way, actually. He's got enough there to be able to scout a good amount. This is going to be useful for when they come up here later on and start building their second and third TCs on the outside. That's a really good idea to get scouting here. So yeah, these TCs going up on these islands are rather interesting. It's just they're so susceptible to being taken down. They are gonna get taken down by galleys like really quickly. No question about it. They're just gonna get taken down. They're gonna get absolutely destroyed once War Galley comes out. But at that point, there's hardly gonna be any resources left on these islands anyway. So it's not like it really matters too much. But also you've got the pressure here of the gold being quite limited. Just 3 gold piles. You're going to obviously want to take every last bit you can. But eventually you're going to run out. And that's when you have to go to the edge. You can't be messing around sticking on your start island for too long. So blue seems to be the first one up with the dock. And that's good. He's taken most of his sheep already. He has got his deer left, but he's not actually taking them at the moment, although of course he does see them. He's going to prioritize the dock here instead of taking the deer straight away, and he is taking the shorefish as well, which is a fantastically fast rate of gathering, so he can gather those in really nicely. Thank you, UFO 1492. I appreciate the love. I love you for watching. It's great. But yeah, the other guy's really delaying their docks a little bit. Andoran putting up his dock just now, which again is quite early compared to Skull, and quite early compared to Jugband as well, who instead are really focusing on these deer. Obviously, they're not going to be able to go up to the feudal age with just these deer and sheep. The dock's now going up for Jugband, and the dock for Skull about to pop up any second now as well. But that's really slow for Skull. Really focusing on that food income and obviously not wanting to let up villager production for 1 second. Now we'll have a quick look at the actual villager count, the population count. And in fact, Pedro is ahead with an extra 2 population over Andoran and an extra 3 population over Skull here. But he is playing as the Chinese, so he did start with a much better economy. And that Chinese start is fantastic on Nomad, and especially this map as well. This map especially because those extra villagers are going to be with you from much earlier than other players are going to have them. They're going to have so much more value because they're just around for much longer. You get your TC up that a little bit faster. You get those extra resources in much faster. And that's why Pedro's managed to get his dock up with 2 fishing ships out so quickly and still be very comfortable in his food production. Skull, though, really interesting here. I'm surprised he's still taking the resources. It looks like he doesn't want to dock yet at all, in fact. He's doing loom. And you know what? When these deer have been taken, I think he might actually have enough to go up to the feudal age, which is quite impressive. He has judged this just perfectly, it seems. You know, he's gone up with, 19 population here. 2 deer just being finished off, and he's going to have just enough food now to finish this. Mining camp going up. These villagers will drop the food as soon as the mining camp gets completed, and he can then just go straight up to feudal. This is a really interesting play by Skull, and something very different. Very different to the other players here, which I like a lot. There's the feudal age upgrade for him, and he's judged that perfectly. You know, there's only enough food for 1 more villager. He could have got 1 more villager out of the food that he had, but that was very well judged, very well timed. And in fact, if he just gathers this deer, he can afford 1 more once he gets up to the feudal age. But yeah, a dock going up, and it seems to me like he's just rushing the galleys here. He doesn't care for his eco at this point in time. He's rushing the galleys. That dock will go up, and then he will literally start getting a galley or 2 out, and these fishing ships are then in peril. And I like this from Skull. He is actually really thinking outside of the box, and he's putting himself at a severe risk in doing so as well. A whole 10 population behind Pedro at this stage, 10 behind Jugband, and 8 behind Andoran as well. So it's risky. It's a bold move, Cotton. Will it pay off? That's the question. Fishing ship now coming out in the time he's got before the feudal age. And I think Skull is going to clean the floor with Pedro at this rate. Pedro, though, starting to make a move. What is he doing? Sending those units over. 5 villagers going across to the edge of the map, and of course he wants to go and cut some wood. He's on the way up to the feudal age, and will this advancement time for Skull really work? He's going up on, what is it, 90%, and you know, Pedro's at 60%. Who else? Yeah, and Doran's at 70%. So it's not like a huge speed, and he's down by 20 population. So we'll see. Skull then, obviously, getting the first galleys out, but will he do enough damage with them? That's the question. Pedro now landed, building that lumber camp on the shoreline there, and that's really important. He's going to run out of wood very quickly on this first island, and it's difficult really for him to keep getting the gold. And it's difficult for all of them to keep getting the food, sorry, not the food, the wood, God's sake. It's difficult to get the wood in. Once this island starts getting depleted, they've got to walk a long way. It's really awkward to get the stragglers and all that. So yeah, it's pretty tough. They're going to move out to the edge pretty quickly. In fact, Andorran's already out there as well. And I've got to say, actually, these NC guys with a very similar strategy. Skull then moving across now with these galleys, and you know what, if he could snipe a transport ship with these galleys, that would be horrible for Pedro. He'd lose 6 population in one fell swoop, which would be fantastic for Skull if he could pull that one off, but obviously that's not going to be the case at this rate, and Skull now looking for water dominance with those 2 galleys already popping out, and 2 fishing ships going down for Pedro relatively quickly. He can easily get a third before focusing down this galley, and he should even, well, he could even get more if he wants. More galleys popping out now, and he's going to have a big galley advantage, and also a big advantage with fishing if he takes down the rest of these ships. 2 more going down, and now there's 4 galleys versus 2, with very little damage done to these galleys. Indeed, just 1 bit of damage done in all, and Skull really going for that water dominance. He's caught up massively. Just 3 population difference between himself and Pedro losing yet another fishing ship. That advantage is now gone, and Pedro with 3 docks looking to pressure and come back onto the water, but that is going to be difficult, very difficult. Meanwhile, Andorran doing good on the other side. Jugband way over booming on the fish, and finally getting up to the fuelage now. 3 docks for him, but losing a couple of fishing ships in the process. But just look at the military tab here. 5 units killed, 0 lost for Skull, and that's kind of a big deal at this stage of the game, especially when those units are fishing ships. So very well played by Skull so far. And we'll see if this actually works out for him, because if he stops any more villagers being transported over as well, that could be huge. I'd love to see him manage to snipe a transport ship. I think that would be fantastic. But yeah, Skull, fantastic play so far, and we'll see if he goes really aggressive here with a blacksmith, but I doubt it. It doesn't look likely. Jugband. Oh man, he was trying to get the repairs from Skull then, but that didn't happen. Andorran sinking that transport ship, and Jugband is now stranded on this island. He has to stay on this island here, and that's really unfortunate, because he's either going to have to make a new transport ship or stay where he is. And he didn't have the foresight to move those villagers to the mainland earlier, which means that this transport ship now is costing him a lot of time, costing him a lot of wood, and also putting him behind in galley production, which is really terrible at this point in time. Pedro coming back on the water as well. Having those galley production, having that extra galley production from that dock much sooner, really helping out. And Skull looks like he's going to end up losing this galley rush as well, which is really unfortunate. Pedro cleaning up over here by the looks of things, with more galleys coming in, and the reinforced distance between them really not that huge. Pedro should have the advantage, as he's looking very good over there. Jugband, trying to protect his fishing ships as best he can, but they are getting taken down, and as I say, losing that where we go back to score. Losing that that transport ship was really annoying. Having to rebuild that, move out to the edge, kind of sucks. And Skull now getting 2v1'd by Pedro and Andorran. Great play by the NC team. Very good teamwork. And they're doing a fantastic job so far of actually keeping Skull on the back foot here. And Skull hasn't been able to catch up all that well, considering he did do a fantastic job of that fast feudal aggression. Doesn't seem to be paying off in the long run though, and now we've got Pedro shipping more villagers across to the outside, starting to take some berries to keep that villager production going, and taking the wood here as well for a little bit of a boost. His wood on his main island, actually, or starting island, going to run out very soon. Very little wood left here, just a few trees left in total, and that's going to be very tough. Jugband though coming in to support Skull, but oh man, these guys need to communicate a little more, it seems. Jugband just leaving his teammate to get taken out there. They probably could have sniped a few more ships from Pedro had he been in position, but oh man, and Doran on this right side coming in, killing a few villagers, and there's no wood left here for Jugband at all, and Jugband is in trouble. Oh, that transport ship nearly running into the path of those galleys. That would have been catastrophic. That would have been really bad. He's got to protect this transport ship somehow. Otherwise, these villagers are toast. He can have all the gold in the world, but if he has a lot of idle villagers and no eco, it's GG, ultimately. So they're trying to 2v1 Andorran now. They're getting a bit of teamwork back up and running. Skull here aiding Jugband in fighting Andorran. But Andorran's going to get out and probably kill a few fishing ships on the way as well. There's one sniped and doing as much eco damage as he can. Jugband has to get more villagers to the outside now because he is really running low on resources. They all are running low on resources. But look at this. Interesting fight on the left-hand side. Barracks and an archery range from Skull. And Pedro is now at risk on this land here. Putting up a watchtower to protect himself and a range of his own. Very nicely played on this left-hand side. And I think Pedro... You know, he's had enough warning of this attack. The second range coming up for Skull now. But these guys, you know, making archers, making galleys so costly on the wood and so costly on the gold that he can only really do one effectively. You know, if he's going for all-out archers here, he's going to have to go for all-out archers. The wood at the moment is just not there for Skull. And as I say, once this is gone, he can't keep up galley production. It's costing too much wood for him. And also, he can't make archers without the wood either. So he's going for archers now. Obviously, stopping galley production as a result of that. And he's got to come back on the water a little bit. It looks like Pedro, though, nearly taken down. Now they're just trying to deal with Andorran, and it seems like Jugband will be continuing galley production for a little while. He's not got anything on the land that indicates a land attack. So looking to try and get a comeback there. And I need to stop yawning. To be fair, it is 5:30 in the morning, but I need to stop yawning, that's for sure. Pedro... Let's have a look. Looking pretty good over here, actually. Taking quite a lot of stone. Interesting choice. And it looks like, well, he's not going to do a castle drop. He's not in the castle age yet. So I don't know what all that stone is going to be for, aside from watchtowers. Maybe he's planning on doing a few more towers here to protect himself. But other than that, don't really see what that stone's going to benefit him. Or what benefit that stone's going to give him. Jugband, good job down here, though. Dealing a little bit more damage, but it looks like Andorran does have the numbers advantage here. 4 warships for Pedro, 5 warships for Skull, 16 for Andorran, and 12 for Jugband. So yeah, Andorran Green does actually have the advantage in the galleys, and that should be an easy fight for him should Jugband decide to engage. Both of them with fletching, +1 attack and range. Done. So Skull watchtowers coming up here and archers coming in looking to do that land damage, and this could be really devastating to Pedro if he doesn't get this tower up in time. He has to focus these villagers down and try and split all of his archers. If he can attack all of them, then he can deny the tower, but the tower's going to go up at the cost of 1 or 2 units. Looks like 2 units went down there. But not good for Skull running into that one. Not going to be able to push in there easily. But he can come around the back. Look to pick off some villagers on this wood line still. But yeah, 8 range on these watchtowers. It's a lot of range. And of course, once they get fletching as well, it's even more of a problem to get in range of that. Now, interestingly enough, Jugband's already up to the castle age. He's going up on... She's at 25%, sorry, that's what I'm trying to say. Perhaps costly in terms of galley production here, but it looks like he's doing good. I mean, all of those villagers are now being shipped off to the mainland, and if he gets castle quickly, he can do the the war galley upgrade, which is going to be really beneficial to his team. He can start taking down this TC from Pedro. He could start winning the water against Andorran, and that would be really huge if he can pull that one off. So yeah, Jugband gonna have to get that war galley upgrade quickly, and his resources are looking good for the galley rush. But this gold is out, and this is what I was saying about, you've got to be careful with that gold. The gold mines are really low for both of them, especially Jugband. His main gold is, you know, out now. It's 30 gold left. He's got to start taking gold on the mainland, and fortunately, he has seen some gold, so he will be able to take that fairly comfortably, which is lucky, because otherwise he'd be screwed, and that would not be good. Andorran coming in though, looking for some kills on Skull, and of course he will pick some villagers off here for absolutely free, if only he could focus the right ones down. Wow, how did he not kill a villager there? That's insane. You would just assume that was a given, that he would manage to get some impressive stuff. Jugband, though, got to be careful. Doesn't want to engage too early. If he engages too early and Andoran takes his ships, he's in the shit. He really is. So War Galley coming in. Of course, Jugband going for that one straight away. And Andoran knows he's got an advantage. He wants to fight, but he's got to be careful. That upgrade doesn't take long, and it's on 45% already, as he's doing a great job there. So Skull and Pedro having a fight here. No upgrades at all, but skirmishes mixed in for Pedro. Might just win him this fight, actually, if only he'd use all of his units. And yeah, look at those archers getting absolutely massacred. Only 2 units lost for Pedro there, and Skull forced right the way back. Looks like Andoran and Pedro really gaining a very big advantage now, as Jugband finishes up that War Galley upgrade, and it comes on the hunt. Maybe he'll focus down this TC or something like that. I don't know. But Pedro, market's up. He's got 500 stone, and I want to see what he's going to spend or do with this market. He's got 700 gold. He's got 500 stone. Let's have a quick look if he's going to use that market at all. And if he's going to use it, what's he going to use it for? At the moment, I'm not seeing it. He's not actually using it at all. And maybe it's just for his second building, but I doubt that somehow. It doesn't seem likely. Pedro also moving up here as well. He's got a lot of villages, in fact. Let's have a quick look at the population tab. My god, I keep skipping past it. Yeah, 42 villagers for Pedro. He's really quite far ahead in villager count compared to everyone else. But Andoran now up to the castle age as well. Could be seeing a second or third TC fairly soon from Jugband or Andoran at this stage. And we'll see if anyone rushes that or if they really focus on the water here. Oh, Skull losing his transport ship. That's not ideal because these villagers are idle now. And there's not a lot back at... back at home here for Skull. I mean, he's got nothing. Villagers just being set to an idle gather point, and well, Andoran's coming in with some war galleys this time, which means more villagers dead on this gold, and more harassment, more death and destruction there for him. Now, if you look at the minimap, it almost looks like the color teal down here. I don't know why, but this looks almost teal. It's very strange. Very strange. The color is teal. Skull could, like I say, lose this TC if Andoran decides to focus it down, and he's not going to get away with that lightly. I mean, he's not going to be able to transport away easily here. Villagers just being taken out, and Andoran has to be careful not to be in range of this TC. But of course, Jugband wants to help his teammate out. He's going to head over there with his own war galleys and try to take that out and protect his teammate, of course. So I think Andoran here, wise to go back, but also very wise in his decision to pressure this gold where he can. Just keep running away and he'll be fine. But look at this on the land, that second TC going up at the back. Looking very good over there for him. And Jugband, no second TC just yet. He's still taking the stone on his main island, but he's out of gold now. He's taking the gold at the back here. That delay of the second TC could be pretty costly. It depends if he manages to do much with these war galleys. And Jugband, it seems like he's got the numbers advantage he needs. Let's have a quick look. He's got 30 warships versus Andoran's 28. There's 2 in it, but the upgrades are even. And if Andoran plays well and micros well, he could win it. Though saying that, a lot of his ships do look like they're on much lower HP overall. If you have a quick look at all of these ships, yeah, a lot of these are very low, very weak. And I think Jugband is probably got the much stronger navy at this point in time, which is very useful to him at the moment. So Pedro walling over here, obviously that's to protect himself from Skull. Skull here trying to tower this wood up, and don't blame him, that makes a lot of sense. And for now, yeah, no second TC or anything like that for Pedro. Pedro is on the way to the castle age though, and Skull is still feudal with 1,700 gold. He is raking in the gold, but the question is, how is he going to get out? And he's building a transport ship now. Obviously, he needs to coordinate this well with Jugband so that he can actually get out safe and sound. He needs to make sure that that transport ship stays alive and he doesn't lose any villagers in it either. I wonder if he's done careening. There's no way to find out now because he has no ship, but we'll see when the transport ship comes out, because obviously careening would mean that 10 villagers get to go over, but no, he's not done that. Kind of a pointless research, I feel, at this point in time, but he needs to get those villagers over to the other side of the map quickly and get them working, because at the moment they're doing absolutely nothing. There's nothing left here at all. It's a empty husk of an island, empty shell of an island. There is no value whatsoever at all. So looking like Andorran's losing the water a little bit. He's split his army up quite a lot on the water. He's split his navy massively. Jugband, on the other hand, keeping it together. Benefits and disadvantages and advantages to both methods. Splitting is useful when you want to see what's going on in the map and try and perhaps pick off some units here and there. Keep your opponent on their toes. Whereas massing your units together like this in a death ball kind of is better at just, running into the stray units, cleaning them up. But you do leave yourself a little bit exposed when you do this. If your army's out of position, you can leave some units very easily attacked. So benefits and advantages and disadvantages for both there. Pedro now up to the castle age though, and that's a problem for Skull. Skull cannot go up to the castle age yet. He doesn't have any food whatsoever. It looks like he might have got rid of some of that gold as well. I don't know where that went, but it's gone now. Maybe he sent it over to Jugband, I'm not sure. But yes, Skull here, still feudal, and it's not too much of a problem. He will be castled relatively soon once he gets his eco back up again, but he's really not got a lot of food income at the moment, which is the main problem. Pretty much no food income, in fact, and focusing on towers here, which is very strange. And Pedro now up to the castle age, like I say. We could see some siege coming out, in fact a mangonel on the way there. 2 mangonels, in fact, which is obviously going to be very good to take down these watchtowers, as long as they have some repairs from villagers. Yeah, that double tower, too strong. Too strong indeed. Jugband though, water control is pretty strong here actually. Able to harass a lot from the shoreline. And Andorran, in fact, with a castle now, starting to pop some plumed archers on this right-hand side. Looking very nice for Andorran, in fact, because Jugband going to have a very tough time warding this one up. And we'll see what he's doing, moving out across the front of the map, but right into the clutches of the +2 plumed archers. And Jugband now is in a little bit of trouble because he's unwalled. He's also losing this navy on the left side because it's split up from the rest. And of course, Jugband now running back, and he's going to try and wall this up, or put something up here so he can defend himself. 4 plumed archers, probably not enough to shut this down. This TC will go up, bringing everything he's got onto this town center, and he will wall this up as well to stop these guys getting in. But there is a hole there. He just walk around the back anyway, picking off a few villagers for free. Absolutely not going to complain at that, but now has to get out because these villagers will garrison and these plumed archers will die. Meanwhile, on the left side of the map, Skull is just about holding on. In the middle of the map, he is walling off on the left so that he can take the food down here on this mill. And, well, Andorran on those 3 TCs now. He's got farms on these ones back at home. He's still taking wood back here, surprisingly. There is still wood left on his home island, which is kind of crazy. And he's taking the gold and, well, just as many farms as he can on this top of far east side of the map, even. Castle for Jugband now as well, playing as the Chinese, so we could see some Chuko New coming out. Fantastic unit, but that will, of course, defend his economy as well, which is the main point to this. But Pedro now pushing in. And this could be a very strong push. Pushing in, completely wiping out these towers. They're going to go down incredibly quickly. 5 mangonels, and all of the archers at the bottom of that tower getting destroyed as they pop out as well. And these mangonels are absolutely devastating to these towers and to this defense from Skull. Skull is about to get crushed right here. A lot of mangonels. No one could out-micro that many mangonels, and all he has to do is, well, all Pedro has to do is keep moving forwards, and each of these watchtowers will fall. Each of this area that Skull controls will go down, and that's a lot of units there. And Skull is really trapped between a rock, literally this wall, and a hard place, which is these mangonels firing down upon him. He cannot run, he cannot hide, he has no water control to escape, and that's pretty nasty. Quite a few archers back here could go down incredibly quickly, but Skull now up to the castle age. What's he going to do? He's going to wall himself in and get a siege workshop of his own. Is that going to be enough, though? I somehow doubt it. That's going to be very tough for him to come back there. Obviously Mangonel is just too OP. Microsoft plus nerf. These are just fantastic from Pedro, and Pedro is going to deny this wall from Skull as well. This army of skirmishers here probably going to clean up those archers with the backup from the Mangonels, but he's got nothing to worry about. He's comfortably moving in there and going to be absolutely doing the D. Jugband with the Chuko news starting to come out from this castle, but this is where the action's at, and I want to see all of these archers getting absolutely flattened. Skull at the moment not even doing the crossbow upgrade. He's doing bracer and that, sorry, bodkin arrow, and that is it. Nice Mangonel from Skull though, popping out at the right time, but it looks like it could go down. Pedro, 4 Mangonels to 1, 5 Mangonels to 1. As I say, nearly impossible to micro against that much Mangonel, and unfortunately for Skull, couldn't afford another Mangonel there. Had to put that one in the queue by, well, he sold some stuff at the market, obviously, but it doesn't look like it's going to complete. The siege workshop will go down by the looks of things before this even comes out, and he's having to build another siege workshop at the back. But this is suicide, man. This is absolute suicide. This siege workshop is not going to complete anytime soon, and Pedro's just continuing to march on forwards with those Mangonels. I absolutely love it. Meanwhile, on the water, Andorran looks like he's in full control for now. Jugband with a few ships still at his docks to protect his town centre and such, but in fact it looks like Jugband should be able to win the water if he gets Andorran. Maybe he even took this TC down. I'm not sure, but that TC is now destroyed. So Andorran, not really a whole lot left on his island, just 4 villagers and a few houses, but that's fine. The houses are going to be the best. And look at this, the archers here getting absolutely destroyed. Pedro though, oh, taking a big hit from that Mangonel, and there's 1 Mangonel left. Oh my goodness, all of that wiped out, but Pedro wins the day, ultimately winning that one there with no units left at all for either of, well, no Mangonels for either of them, but Skull, fantastic shots with those Mangonels, making a little bit of a comeback, and he did definitely do a great job with that Mangonel. Very good stuff. Doing the D, doing the damage, Robbo, that's what it means. Giving him the D. Anyway, yeah, stables coming out now for Pedro. Knights to finish this one up by the looks of things. A couple of knights here will finish those Mangonels. I can't believe Skull is holding on. He's holding on so well. It's amazing, really, because look at the scores. There's only 200 score difference at this point in time. Maybe even less, 150, which is kind of crazy. I don't understand how that score difference could be. Obviously, Jugband carrying this game at the moment with a huge score lead, and Skull literally just holding on in there, making sure he survives. That's all there is to it for him. 39 population, but Jugband on 132. He's got full water control now. This area for Andorran is destroyed, but Andorran up to the Imperial Age, and those plumed archers are about to get pretty potent. Let's have a quick look. Andorran, what's he looking like? Trebuchets coming straight out. Of course, Bracer on the way, and not far behind him, we've got Jugband up to the Imperial Age as well. So he is really not far at all from the Imperial Age. Well, sorry, he is into the Imperial Age. What am I talking about? Jugband really not far behind, even in terms of Imperial upgrades, and Trebs coming out for him as well. Making sure to get those Trebs out nice and early. It's so crucial. Another castle going up now in the back, and the big fight is going to be here, really. This is where it's going to be won or lost. And of course, Jugband with his galleys here will be able to start doing some damage from the water if Andorran gets close. He could start taking out these houses and causing Andorran to get housed. That would be pretty bad. He's got 155 population headroom, but if he starts taking out these houses, he will have to rebuild them, and that's going to be annoying to deal with. Pedro on the left side, though, great play against Skull. Skull is having to deal with knights now as well, which makes it a little bit more difficult, and, well, Jugband trying to help out where he can against these skirmishers. In fact, if he continues like this, he could do a great job taking out that mangonel, and if he brings the rest of his war galleys over here, he could really help Skull out from the water, because Skull's getting night raided and everything. That's looking pretty gnarly. He is still alive in the center of the map though. He has got 2 TCs here, still going strong like that, but it's not amazing for Skull at the moment. But Jugband, yeah, really carrying this game for the time being. This castle, though, looks pretty risky. It looks like it might just go down. Of course, Jugband has to hit these trebs here. Got to take them down before he loses his castle. There's one, and he's, of course, going to go for 2. If he can keep the repairs on this castle and take these trebs down, he might be okay. Looking to get one more hit on this treb here. If he does it, that looks like it's on. One more hit then. Just one more. If he gets the hit, that could be huge. You can also see that chemistry has been done for Jugband here, and he did flatten that treb as well. Really doing well in that treb war. Keeping his castle alive. That's the important thing. That's the really important thing. Making sure that that castle stays up and those trebs stay alive. Really well played by Jugband, and Endorin really kind of falling into a trap there, focusing down the castle rather than focusing down those trebuchets. Now, Pedro is setting a little bit of wood to Andoran now, and I'm not sure why. Maybe it was to make some more trebs, actually. Yeah, look at this treb war coming up. We've got 5 trebs, or 4 trebs queued at the moment for Andoran. That's a huge number of trebs being queued up there. A lot of resources tied up in that, and, well, he's just got to have another crack at it, but it's 3 trebs on 2, and Jugband has the deployment advantage as well. Andoran not bringing any villagers forward, just losing treb after treb after treb, and the Chinese player here able to just take these down so easily, simply by just being set up and ready and waiting for Andoran to push in. So Skull's been completely cleaned up here. He is nothing. He's just nothing left. However, he has still got his main area here, which is now getting up 3rd TC. He's also got farming on his start island, and he has got some fish as well. So Skull is by no means completely out of this game. In fact, I think if he just holds out, he could even send some resources to Jugband when Jugband needs it. He's got access to some gold down here, so it could be worthwhile trying to take some of that and sending it to Jugband when he can. Jugband, Siege Ram is done, and that's just it, really. Siege Ram is perfect in this situation. In fact, Siege Ram and Chuko Nu beat Siege Ram and Plumed Archers, simply because the Chuko Nu take the rams down so quickly, and the Siege Ram is basically useless for the Mayan player here. Hence why the Mayan player has probably opted for a couple of mangonels. If he gets lucky and lands a few good shots, that could be huge. But Jugband, some support from the water as well, splitting up all of his army around the edge of the water to make sure no one tries to retake it. And it's looking great at the moment for Jugband down here. The problem is it's almost a 2v1 because Pedro's booming up quite nicely at the north of the map, and in the corner of the map he's got a lot of eco there as well. In fact, he is on the way up to the Imperial Age as well, so Jugband kind of has to really push Andoran back quickly, otherwise it's going to be real troublesome for Jugband fighting on 2 fronts, because the next place Pedro is going to push is here right into Skull, and that could be a real problem. So yeah, Jugband's got to be quick, he's got to be efficient, he's going to be deadly, and he might just be okay. Obviously, Chuko Nu doing a great damage to Siege, just strong in general. Upgrade advantage is with Jugband here. Obviously, the Chuko Nu going to focus down those mangonels first. Mangonels doing a good amount of damage, and those Chuko Nu starting to crumble a little bit there, having to focus down those units. But of course, these trebs going to be the target of fire as they start getting taken out, and Jugband pushing forwards now with the rams, and Andoran knows he can't fight against that. These trebs being focused, of course, as they are the most expensive units here, and I think those rams in the mix are going to totally change around this battle, and Doran will be obviously distracted and the rams will start to draw fire, which is kind of huge. Another castle on the front for Jugband, that's going to secure that gold. And meanwhile, Pedro now starting his push on the left side. Those knights going to see this wall, going to work out what's going on. And Skull putting up a castle here in defense, which is risky because trebs from Pedro could be on the way very, very shortly. Though that's not the case for now. Battering rams and mangonels for now seems to be the case. That's absolutely fine. And that's because he's still in the Imperial Age. That's why there's no trebs coming out or anything like that. We'll probably see Cap Ram pretty quickly. And of course, this wall will go down fairly quickly as well, if it even has quite a few battering rams on it. Meanwhile, the Jugban, the Chinese player over here, doing a fantastic job so far of really pushing this one back. So, yeah, I mean, Andorran's really on the back foot now. And it's the Chinese versus the Mayans. I think the Chinese probably got a very good shot of getting on top here. Mayan players still adding in more and more mangonels. In fact, there's 4 mangonels there. Might be looking for that onager upgrade. It's likely, in fact, that the onager upgrade's on the way. There it is, 99% 100, as I say it. And now he's got 5 onagers back here, which could really turn this fight around. This is what you need. You need the onagers. But you need to make sure they're protected, and you need to make sure that they're attacking at the right time. Otherwise, they will get focused down by the Chukonu, and you're going to have a very bad time indeed. Capped Ram is now done for Pedro. He's pushing in against Skull on this left-hand side, and Skull is starting to make some Mayan Eagle Warriors and a Mangonel of his own to deal with these pesky Rams. Let's see what happens over here. One trap going down. Those onagers doing a great job at dealing with the Rams as well. And it's a good job that Andorran didn't go for Rams, because it would have been a different story altogether. It's the onagers here that are going to save the day for him. For now, anyway. Obviously, it is far from over, it seems, as Andorran starting to push back slightly now against Jugband, who's adding in more castles and starting to switch into some light cavalry, which is the perfect decision. This light cavalry from the Chukonu, sorry, from the Chinese, we've seen it a lot of times. It helps to support the Chukonu. It helps to raid the enemy's eco. Helps to do all sorts of good stuff, and it will start to take down those onagers if they get close, if they get enough of them. A little bit worried for Jugband's castle now. He's down in the treb war. It's 4 and 5 trebs actually, yeah. So he's down on the treb war here, and he's got to go. So Jugband's sending resources to Skull at the moment. Jugband with a ton of resources, in fact, and Skull finally making it up to the Imperial Age. But it looks like these walls have caved. Pedro here getting in with the Siege Ram and Cavalier. Pretty unconventional for the Chinese, but with Bloodlines and +4/+4, it's kind of mad not to. They're only missing the Paladin upgrade, which, let's be honest, an extra 2 attack and an extra 40 HP is valuable, but these Cavalier are still strong enough to stand on their own. And Skull, oh, he's got nothing left. He's got absolutely nothing left. Randomly placing down barracks, rushing to get that Halberdier and Pikeman upgrade done, but it's too slow. And Skull, Imperial Age research is complete, but at what cost? His entire economy, which is very, very bad indeed. And it's starting to look pretty gnarly for Jugband as well now. These onagers doing a fantastic job so far. The Chukonu from Jugband seem to have melted away, and that castle will fall. 2 trebuchets going down, and these light cavalry seem to be getting focused quite quickly by the plumed archers before they can even finish the onagers off. So well played by Andorran, and now he's pushing forwards at a fast speed as those onagers are really doing a huge amount of damage. And look at this, Pedro here just carving his way through Skull's base, and it looks like to me it's gonna be GG, because I mean, Skull is nothing now. He's got nothing left. And Pedro is just happily taking his resources at the top of the map. Skull's trying to rebuild his eco. I don't see that working out, to be honest with you. But we'll see. Green Andorran could be really pushing forwards now. And we'll check the population tabs because, yeah, Pedro and Andorran, a combined population of 284. Jugband and Skull, combined population of 148. So, you know, they're hugely behind in population in total. And that's just going to be even more difficult now, because Andorran is going to have to, Jugband even going to have to defend from the bottom of the map. Skull resigns. Jugband probably wants to see this last battle out, see how his Chukonu fare, but there are way too many plumed archers here. Power in numbers, 8+6 attack, still cannot deal with the huge number of plumed archers here, and these onagers from behind. Looks like the plumed archers are going to win the day, and Jugband says GG as well, resigning right there. as yellow is, yeah, pretty much wiped from the map. 29 population at the end of that game. But that's a pretty good game, actually. I liked that map a lot. I liked the creative playstyle that it initiates from the players, and I think it's a lot of fun by the looks of things. It would be very interesting to see this played, you know, in tournament setting, and I think it will be played in the War is Coming tournament. So keep your eyes out for this map. It looks like it should be a lot of fun indeed. So thanks everyone for watching. I didn't